And tonight, he has his first start since January 1st, 2012, in which the Dolphins beat the Jets, knocked the Jets out of playoff contention, and none other than current Jets head coach Todd Bowles was the interim head coach for the Miami Dolphins that day. Well, it's been 77 games since then, and Matt Moore told me, hey, there might be a little bit rust, but I am more than ready. Now, as for some notable injuries tonight, the Dolphins defense gets back leading tackler Kiko Alonso, who is expected to play after missing last week's game. For the Jets, two starters in the secondary are out, Buster Skrine and Marcus Gilchrist. And running back Matt Forte will start despite being limited all week with a knee injury, but Bilal Powell will get plenty of carries as well, Mike.
All right, Heather, we'll be tracking them all with tonight's Next Gen Stats, which are presented by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing. The math in the AFC. This is the first AFC game of Week 15. You see the division leaders in the wild card story. Denver in that last wild card spot. Tiebreaker edge for the moment over Miami. But remember, the Broncos play New England tomorrow. So Miami with a win and a Patriots win over Denver would slide into that 6th spot heading to the last couple of weeks of the season. But a lot to do between now and then. Adam Gase on the left, Todd Bowles on the right. Terrific start for the 38-year-old Adam Gase, the youngest coach in the NFL. And when Miami has the ball, it'll be his play calling against Todd Bowles, who calls the defenses, the second-year head coach for the Jets. Toss won by Miami. They defer the option to the second half, so the Jets will get it first. Andrew Franks set to kick. Nick Marshall back deep to receive. The truly loyal Jets fans are in the house, and off we go from East Rutherford. From 4 deep, Marshall will take it out, and the former Auburn quarterback, who's working into a special teams role, will get it out to the 25-yard line. Spencer Pasinger takes him out of bounds, and here's the Jets offense.
Bryce Petty, Baylor.
Matt Forte, Slidell High School.
Brandon Marshall, Central Florida.
Quincy Anunua, Nebraska.
Robbie Anderson, Temple.
Brandon Bostic, Newberry College.
Ben Isolana, Villanova.
James Carpenter, Alabama.
Wesley Johnson, Vanderbilt.
Brian Winters, Kent State.
Brandon Sheff, South Carolina.
And we're going to watch 72 Shell. He's the nephew of the legendary Art Shell, the Hall of Famer, but Brandon Shell in there as the Jets start their 4th different right tackle this year. From the 25, Petty to the air. And he throws it low for Quincy Enunwa. The pass is incomplete. Cameron Wake was right in there putting heat on the quarterback. So Doug gave you a little bit of Bryce Petty's story. It was a full red shirt last year. When he was at Baylor, and he's a 4th-round pick, they called the stuff from the sideline, very simple offense, so he could not come right in and jump in to play in the NFL. So he took the year to learn the game. This is 2nd season. And after Ryan Fitzpatrick played and was benched a couple of times, Geno Smith got hurt. After Fitzpatrick's poor first half against Indy 2 weeks ago on a Monday night, they turned to Petty. And this is 3rd start overall, 2nd in a row. They'll toss it to Bilal Powell, and that Dolphin defensive line, strength of their team with the surge. Isa Abdul-Qaddus from the safety spot helps out. It's a loss of 1.5 yards.
It was Sue just blasting through the middle and penetrating, getting in the backfield. But I like the play calling early for the Jets. Get Petty comfortable. Sue just will penetrate, get in the backfield all day. You have to double team him. But he started with a naked bootleg for Petty, trying to get him comfortable. Actually gave him an easy completion, but he short-armed the ball a little bit. Get his legs going, get him moving, get him comfortable.
This is 3rd and 11. And Petty throws it complete to Powell, and Bilal Powell across the 40 to the 45-yard line. A pickup of 21 and a Jets first down. Bobby McCain, the nickelback, makes the tackle for Miami.
Nice job at dumping the ball off. Long yardage situation. You're getting zone drop off. A little pull tug by Winters on the right side there, but he dumps it down to Powell. Great run. He really came alive last week, Powell. Had a lot of carries, a great opportunity to run the show last week after Matt Forte got banged up.
Forte injured that right knee. Powell came in, had a career-high 149 yards from scrimmage. In his 6th year out of Louisville, the former Jets 4th-round pick, Powell, will take it just shy of midfield. Jordan Phillips, the tackle. Let's meet the rest of the Miami defense.
Cameron Wake, BC Lions.
Dominican Sue, Grant High School.
Jordan Phillips, Oklahoma.
Andre Branch, Death Valley, South Carolina.
Donald Butler, University of Washington.
Kiko Alonso, Oregon.
Jelani Jenkins, Florida.
Aaron Maxwell, Clemson.
Issa Abdul Caduce, Fordham.
Michael Thomas, Stanford. Tony Lippett, Michigan State.
Lippett has come on, their 5th-round pick last year. Xavier Howard, their 2nd-round pick this year, has come into the lineup tonight off that knee injury. It's going to be caused by Andre Branch as he moved, and the reaction from the Jets offense.
Neutral zone infraction, number 50. Offense, a defense, 5-yard penalty, remains second out.
You're supposed to be able to move when the defender comes across to defend yourself. The guy that moves is left tackle 2 people away from him, and they still get the call.
Ben Ajelana is
Ajelana
well
decides,
trained.
you know what? He moved over there about 15. I'm defending myself. I'll move.
It's what offensive linemen do these days to cause that flag, and it'll set up a good play calling situation for Chan Gailey, the Jets offensive coordinator. 2nd at a long yard, and they will give to Powell. Got a good pulling block to get down to the 40-yard line, and a 1st down. Gain of 7, Kiko Alonso, who was a question mark with a hamstring injury, starting tonight, as Heather told you, and he makes the stop.
Well, this is good news for the Jets. They need to establish some run, take some pressure off Petty. They're running the football extremely well early on here. And the plays that Petty has dropped back to throw, one wasn't a drop back, it was a bootleg. And the other was a nice little dump off in a long yardage situation. Protecting him is going to be very difficult against this Miami front.
Hey, 47, get Mike! Go. Add him out.
1st and 10 from the 40. Will play action as Petty spins, sees nothing open, chased by Mitchell, and throws it to the sideline where Austin Safarian-Jenkins was waiting for the Jets. You know, you heard him in there, Doug, just call out the mic as we watched Petty on the move here.
Yeah, getting him on the move and moving him around a little bit. Keep him out of the drop back game as much as possible to start. When we're talking about the mic calls, that's part of the procedure at the line of scrimmage for a quarterback to set the protection for the offensive line. That's all brand new to him, and he's still in a learning process with that and his read progressions down the field.
They're showing command of the offense here, getting to another play and firing in the middle, complete. On the run, Robbie Anderson inside the 10. Opening drive, touchdown, New York Jets.
Anderson on Rambo, and it was man-to-man coverage, and he just beat him across his face, over the top across his face. And the bottom line is that he made the check. He saw man coverage, checked out of the run, into the pass, saw man coverage, went to his best matchup and took it. Anderson is a guy he got very comfortable with right away last week and has more speed than anyone on the field.
Yeah, that was the maturation of a quarterback. The things you're looking for, not just the miking, but setting everybody up, the hard count, kill, got to the other play, and it was a perfect one, a 40-yarder for Anderson. Extra point added by Nick Folk for the first time since week 1. It's an opening drive touchdown for the Jets. Robbie Anderson to the end zone. Bryce Petty says, hey, you thinking about a Christmas gift for your kid? How about a number 9 Jets jersey? This Thursday night special is brought to you by Fitbit. Find yours at Fitbit.com. And by Hyundai, the official sponsor of the NFL. See some of the Jets greats over the years, including Broadway Joe. It's that perpetual search for the next Jets quarterback that has gone on and on. They've drafted one each of the last 5 years. Petty in the 4th round of the 2015 draft, and making his first home start, 3rd overall, but a very good opening drive, Doug Flutie.
Very good drive and a real audition for him over these 4-game window. You know, the decision for the Jets next year, what they're going to do at the quarterback position. This is his opportunity right here, right now. He progressed last week from first half to second half, and he did some things there in the first drive that he didn't do last week. So he's off and running.
Nick Folk will kick to Jakeem Grant and Kenyon Drake. Remember, it was Drake with a 96-yard touchdown return that won the first meeting between these teams. On the bounce, it's taken by Jakeem Grant. Got away from 2 Jets covering, but cannot get away from the 3rd, and Devin Smith makes the tackle. It'll be 90 yards plus for Matt Moore and the Miami offense.
Matt Moore, Oregon State.
Jay Ajayi, Boise State. Jarvis Landry, LSU, a.k.a. the Jungle. Devontae Parker, Louisville.
Kenny Stills, La Costa Canyon High School.
Deion Sims, Michigan State.
Brandon Albert, Virginia.
Laramie Tunsil, Ole Miss.
Craig Urbick, Wisconsin.
Jamon Bushrod, King George High School.
Jawan James, Tennessee.
And Dolphin fans will be all over 60. Craig Urbick starting at center. Anthony Steen has been the starter, taking the place of Mike Pouncey, who they finally put on injured reserve. But the Dolphins wanted to get a little more stout in there, so Urbick gets his second start of the year at center, blocking for Jay Ajayi, who gets hit hard after the gain of 4. Rontez Miles getting his second NFL start, buzzing in from the safety spot to stop Ajayi.
Well, Ajayi's numbers have been sliding a little bit the last few weeks. He had those 2 100-yard games and then a 100-yarder last time against the Jets, but it's been sliding since. And it's because of a lot of the injuries in the offensive line.
Brandon Albert and Laramie Tunsil have been banged up on the left side. They've played some good football. Tunsil, the first-round pick for Miami, number 67. After the gain of 5, it's 2nd and 5 for Moore, who throws complete to Marquise Gray, the tight end, and he'll get a first down at the 21-yard line. Well, Dougie talked about the time frame since that last start for Matt Moore. He had the opportunity to go somewhere else as the backup. He has been the number 2 to Ryan Tannehill in each of Tannehill's NFL seasons, but he decided at the last minute he wanted to stay in Miami, and Adam Gase decided he wanted to keep him around as well. And what a benefit. There's a great relationship between the 2 quarterbacks, a veteran who has started 25 games in the NFL, and now he's probably starting the last 3. Ajayi runs into the waiting arms of Leonard Williams, who's had a very good second season, the Jets' 6th overall pick a year ago.
Boy, Leonard Williams is really playing well this year. He's coming from the backside over here, and he will loop around the center and come underneath and just fill the hole and stick it. He is playing the best of all the defensive linemen right now for the New York Jets.
Good man out of Southern California. Had a chance to visit with Leonard yesterday. And the bright spots up front, other big names up there on that defensive line, but Williams had the standout season. On 2nd and 11, Ajayi again, Williams again. Minimal gain, 3rd and long for the Dolphins.
Well, this one's a little easier for him. He just closes this down off the edge, comes down hard off the edge, and it's really a zone read. But with Moore at quarterback, he's ignoring the quarterback run right now and just playing run all the way and makes the stop.
That's a great point, Doug. With Ryan Tannehill, it's a little more of a threat. Tannehill ran it 40 times, averaged over 4 a carry. There is Ryan Tannehill with the injury to the ACL and the MCL. Called a sprain at this point. Still unclear on the medical future. We'll delve into that more, but he's on the sideline watching. Moore on 3rd and 10. Nothing for Landry, blanketed by Revis. A good pressure, too, by Jordan Jenkins. And after 1 first down, Miami will kick it away.
Revis, stride for stride. You know, people talking about him losing a step, getting a year older, all that. Stride for stride with the stud receiver coming underneath.
Be interesting to see as Moore comes over to the sidelines, the reverse of what they've done most of the last 4 years. He'll be talking to Tannehill about what he saw out there. Nick Marshall waits for the Matt Dar punt. Right footer line drive, 39-yarder taken on the run by Marshall, who returns at 5. But the Jets will get good field position. New York will take over. Their own 46, Zach Vigil with the tackle. 6.5 gone by opening quarter. Jets on the board and in good field position. Next week, a couple of huge showdowns on Thursday night specials. On Christmas Eve, Cincinnati against Houston. And on Christmas Day, we will be in Pittsburgh for the Ravens and the Steelers. That could go a long way in deciding the AFC North. So action blanketed all over the Christmas weekend. We'll have a couple for you here on NFL Network. Penny taking over from his own 46. It's Bilal Powell again with the carry. It'll be a gain of 3 to the 49 with Tony Lippett, the corner, making the tackle. Well, Doug, you talk about the quarterback situation with the Jets. Geno Smith, the ACL, he's out for the year. Christian Hackenberg on the left, the 2nd-round pick out of Penn State, and Ryan Fitzpatrick, the veteran, who's been benched essentially a couple of times, one with injury and then the second one certainly the poor play. And now it is Petty's turn. Number 49, complete to Powell. Missed tackle in the open field, and Bilal Powell, who ran just like that the entirety of the game in San Francisco, continuing his good performance. A gain to 14 and a first down.
When you drop back against Miami, you better get the ball out quick. And this is just a three-step drop out of gun, quick release, Powell in the flat. He's carrying over from what he did in the second half last week. Get the ball in Powell's hands, out of the backfield, running and catching. And then you make someone miss in space and they turn it into a big play.
Described by his coach this week as an old soul, old school type player. The toughness of Bilal Powell, seeing more action because of the injury to Forte. Forte's on the field for a moment as a Dolphin was injured on that play. Earl Mitchell, their 7th-year defensive tackle out of Arizona, comes over to the Miami sideline.
Which team's playing for a playoff spot here?
That's a good question. And then Jets fans are wondering,
where's this been?
Where has this been? And this is what they've seen go the other way the last 2 weeks. Remember, back-to-back games, the Jets were down 14-0 halfway through the first quarter. Here they're halfway through the first quarter and 7-0 and driving. A great point about Miami. You got to show up and step up here. Forte the back. Difficult snap. Penny lucky to get it. And unlucky that Ndamukong Suh was waiting to just put him down. Loss of 3 on the play.
That's just the wrong guy to come through, and he's going to come through every time. If you don't double team this dude, he is going to be in the backfield all day. They try to get 2 hats on him. It was a low snap. Petty just controls the ball. No turnover here. Just follow your back into the hole and get what you can get. Hit by Suh.
Ndamukong Suh has 5 sacks. Talking to some of the Miami coaches, just continuing to point out, he sees double teams all the time. He's doing a lot of the dirty work. The numbers might not be there. They feel the performance has been this year. 2nd and 13 for Penny. Surveys the field. Open in the middle. It's Brandon Marshall for the first down. Marshall inside the 21 to the 20-yard line. Gain of 16 for Brandon Marshall.
Look at the pass protection against a tough defensive line. Right across the board, standing solid, looks right, works back left. Great job coming front side to back side, a downfield route. Marshall works into a hole, into a window and cover 2, a deep zone. Finds the window and then tries to make something happen after. That was some very nice progress from last week to this week so far for Petty.
And it's movement up front by Suh. Recognized and reacted to by Winters, the Jets' right guard. We'll see who it's on.
93.
Neutral zone infraction, number 93 defense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
We saw that pass, and you talked about the defense Miami was playing in the secondary. We didn't see 41 Byron Maxwell out there. This Dolphin defense, Maxwell, Ndamukong Suh, and everybody else penalized the most in the NFL. 9 more than the Rams. That includes the Rams total from Thursday night in Seattle. But we thought when we saw Marshall, we'd see Maxwell throughout the game. And thus far, the last couple of snaps, Maxwell on the bench. Bilal Powell the back, 15 in the red zone. The shovel pass to Powell, and Suh waiting, and they blew that one dead. And it will be marked as a loss of a yard. There's Byron Maxwell. He struggled early this year, Doug. They benched him, but this guy who was a Super Bowl champion with Seattle, had a very difficult year last year in Philadelphia, came to Miami, and after those early struggles, he has come around.
Vance Joseph was saying, a defensive coordinator for Miami, was saying, you know, he only played cover 3 press and bailed out of that. It wasn't a tough coverage for a corner. He had to do a lot of learning when he got here.
The 16, stretching it out. Powell with a run to the 14, gain of 2, and that is Suh. We are calling Ndamukong Suh's name a lot in this opening quarter.
He penetrates, he moves down the line, he chases from the backside. Here he goes again, coming down. He'll just chase this one from the backside and just keep separation, keeps the offensive line off him with his hands extended, keeps people at a distance so he can see. His vision is good. And he's got a motor that just won't quit.
3rd and 4. His two linebackers sniff it in there. They get out. Penny's going to get hit and go down. And the ball came out as well. Cameron Wake hit him. It is free, and it belongs to the Dolphins. And Ndamukong Suh recovers, but Cameron Wake, who's still going off the Achilles injury last year, now going to be in double-digit sacks with that hit on Penny, forcing the fumble and getting the much-needed turnover for the Dolphins. We said their D-line's got to show up. They do on that play and get the ball back for Miami. NFL fans, order your holiday gifts today and get free shipping at the official store of the NFL. Visit NFLshop.com today. And the lines are shorter than those in New York City. The city is full of folks, as always, around the holiday season. Well, Ndamukong Suh and Cameron Wake, they have gotten to their share of quarterbacks over the years, but that one was pretty easy. Unblocked, Wake gets the sack, forces the fumble. Suh gets it for Miami. And from the 25, Moore is complete, but nowhere to go for the tight end, Deion Sims. No gain as Darren Lee makes the play for this Jets defense.
Leonard Williams, USC.
Muhammad Wilkerson, Temple.
Sheldon Richardson, Mizzou.
Freddie Bishop, Western Michigan.
Darren Lee, The Ohio State University.
Dave Harris, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Jordan Jenkins, Georgia.
Justin Burris, North Carolina State.
Calvin Pryor, Fort St. Joe High School.
Montez Miles, California, Pennsylvania.
Darrell Revis, Pitt.
Revis already with one good play in his first quarter. Ajayi runs left, he'll gain a couple. And David Harris, who's always there for the Jets, knocks him out of bounds. I mentioned earlier that we did not see much of Byron Maxwell on that last drive, and the Dolphins starting cornerback is walking back to the locker room. So something wrong with their top corner.
Yeah, their top corner. He's been playing very well of late. He was looking forward to this matchup tonight with Brandon Marshall. And now they're going to be shorthanded in the secondary.
Third and 6, Jets showing pressure, bringing 5. Moore's got time, downfield, double coverage, incomplete. Buzzing over was Doug Middleton playing safety. Middleton, who made his NFL debut against San Francisco last week. He's only played 13 snaps in his career. He came over to make that play from the post.
He's running a deep corner route, and it's man-to-man coverage. Revis is with him, so the ball's laid up high over the top, which just allows the safety to come over and make a play on the ball. Middleton should have picked this ball, but you want to throw a corner route, get it there a little quicker. He left it in the air way too long for the safety to get into the play.
Tried to get it to Kenny Stills, he could not. Matt Darr kicks it away for the second time. Get her hang time on this one, it's 46 yards. Nick Marshall stepped out of bounds as he tried to cut it back inside. And it will be Jets ball right around the 25. 2:41 left in the opening quarter. New York by 7. This Thursday night special is brought to you by Bud Light. Strike gold and you can win Super Bowl tickets for life. And by Tostitos chips and dips. Bring the party. When some of those guys were playing for the Dolphins, it was a party in South Florida. And Dan Marino's here. Bob Greasy also in the house on the radio broadcast with Jimmy Cefalo, Joe Rose, and Kim Bocamper. That's a pretty good alumni team in the booth.
Those are guys I grew up watching.
So many good years for the Dolphins, but it's been very thin times of late. Dolphins sideline was frustrated, thought that, and they were right, a free catch signal was quickly given by Nick Marshall, and then he advanced the ball. Should have been a flag. It was not. The Jets take over from their own 25, and penny complete to Brandon Marshall. And a pickup of a dozen for Marshall and a first down.
Illegal use of hands to the face, number 71. Offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
It's on Aishalana, the tackle, who didn't block Cameron Wake earlier, forcing the turnover.
Here comes Wake and Aishalana. Dips that shoulder. He opens that back shoulder and lets him around the corner into the holding company. But I'll tell you what, Petty's timing on that comeback route, that was a shot. Great anticipation, and he turned it loose. He's had a couple throws already tonight that he did not make last week.
lot of inexperience at the tackle spots for the Jets in front of Petty. Another good run by Powell, getting some of that penalty yardage back to the 23-yard line. Jason Jones the tackle. Let's go downstairs to Heather.
Well, Mike, you saw the Dolphins' top corner, Byron Maxwell, go to the locker room. He is now questionable to return with an ankle injury, Mike.
Okay, Heather, you see 25 in white, Xavier Howard. Adam Gase getting his second-round pick, the cornerback, back in the lineup this week. Howard has had an injury to the same knee a couple of times, once early in the season, once after 4 games. So he's returning to the lineup tonight for the first time in 2.5 months. Pressure on Petty, screen to Powell, who tried to dunk under Jordan Phillips, but he could not. Good play by the second-year man from Oklahoma as Miami brought the heat and a loss of 5.
Well, they'll bring pressure off this edge, and he drops off the backside and just feels the back releasing, gets right into the play. Phillips just saw it all the way. It's one of those where if you're the receiving back, just knock that thing to the ground and take it as an incomplete.
Andre Branch and Cameron Wake, the two ends, are just ready to go. They're ready to go at these Jets tackles who are
sprint stance.
3rd and 17. Screen set up. Powell able to collect it, but nowhere to go as the Dolphins were all over that. No chances taken in the play calling, and Miami's defense shows up on that drive and get a 3-and-out out of the Jets.
Just a safe call so you don't make any mistakes and try to force it down the field. 3rd and extra long. Go ahead and dump a screen, especially with this pass rush. Tell you what, even on the screen they almost got to him. Sue was flying up through the middle.
Lachlan Edwards kicks for the Jets. Jakeem Grant. He was a 74-yard touchdown return this year. Back to return for Miami. Ozzie gets it away. The punt is 39. It was tough to catch. Brought in by Grant. He's hemmed on the sideline. And Miami will have its best field position of the night. Final 20 seconds of this opening quarter for Matt Moore and the Dolphins. Down 7. With the Jets, back with the Jets, Darrelle Revis. Let's take a look at some next-gen stats on him presented by Mercedes-Benz. It has not been a good season for Revis. Doug, he's being thrown at Moore. No interceptions, and look at the quarterback rating that takes into account everything. That's a double what it was last year against him.
Yeah, some of the other numbers can happen as far as interceptions never come your way or touch, but when you look at the quarterback rating when thrown at him, significant difference. In fact, last drive he almost had his first pick of the season off the tip ball, and he's kicking himself right now for at least not sniping that one.
Some talk in the New York papers this week of maybe Revis moving to safety down the line, maybe next year. Tony Dungy said no to that on the pregame. Tony's going to join us in the booth here when we start the second quarter, which will be momentarily as Jay Ajayi is stopped by David Harris and Leonard Williams. Williams and Sue have had an outstanding first quarter on each defensive front for the Jets and Dolphins, respectively. After 1, here at MetLife, Jets 7, Miami nothing. And this Thursday night special continues from New Jersey after these messages. During this season, Adam Gase's Dolphins and Todd Bowles' Jets have been among the worst first quarter teams in terms of net points. They've given up a lot more than they've scored, both teams. Dolphins behind by 7 as this second quarter begins, and Ajayi on the run into Jets territory at the 49-yard line. Mike Tirico, Doug Flutie, Heather Cox on the sideline, and from the football night set and to the booth, Tony Dungy will join us. It's warmer up here.
It's much warmer up here. It's a different perspective. You can see a lot more, so I'm looking forward to this, Mike.
Well, you were just telling us coming up to the booth as a coach, and then when you went down to be a head coach, change of perspective for you real quick.
It is. It's so much faster, and the collisions are so crazy down there. It's a lot different on the sideline.
Game looks so easy from up here.
You can see everything.
To drive me nuts when coaches would talk. You know, they're looking down at it.
Well, we'll tell everyone how easy it is the rest of the night, right? For the Dolphins, it is not been easy on any down. It's 3rd and 6. Jets bring pressure as Moore fires, and it's complete. Devontae Parker with the first down to the 31. That's a gain of 17, and the best looking throw and catch of the night for Miami.
And went right at Darrelle Revis.
Parker on an in route here, taking Revis up the field and break. Beautiful throw, right in rhythm, right in stride.
And that's the difference you see with Darrelle now. He used to close and clamp that so well. In years past, he's getting a hand on that ball.
backing up those numbers we showed a moment ago. Parker has battled a back injury the last couple of weeks. Miami feels like he's a little bit healthier this week. Be an important part of this offense tonight. From the 31, fake to Ajayi, more throws, and this one is caught by Jarvis Landry. Almost had a double catch it, but a gain of 11 and another Dolphin first down.
Again, this is a curl route on Revis by Landry. He just takes him up the field. He's going to just go straight up the field, hook it up between defenders.
And just so much cushion by Darrell. That's not what you're used to seeing from him.
Used to seeing press coverage all day long out of Darrell. And Matt Moore, 2 nice strikes in a row up the field, especially that first one is right in stride.
Both these quarterbacks have really been impressive tonight as far as just doing their job.
To the red zone for Matt Moore, in for the injured Ryan Tannehill. Going to go back to the air again. Climbs the pocket, throws to the corner, caught by Gray. Marquise Gray hangs on. He's down at the 1. It'll be first and goal and a gain of 19.
Gray is working on Harris, 52 on a corner route. Great job by Matt Moore stepping up in the pocket with pressure and delivering a strike down to the 1-yard line. I mean, that's a simple corner route, just trying to outrun your linebacker. But he waited an extra half second, stepped in the pocket, slid up, good feel with pressure and delivered.
He read the coverage. He knew where his mismatch was.
First and goal, Moore trips as he gets it to Damian Williams. And he will be stopped for no gain at the 1-yard line. Likely caught the leg of his center or his guard pulling out.
This happens a lot in goal line offense. You get up under center and you're closer to the line of scrimmage. You're in there trying to secure the snap and the guard steps back. Tunsil with his right foot and catches his quarterback. And Matt Moore's to the ground. Unfortunately, the ball's not on the ground.
Good penetration by the Jets defensive line there, almost caused a fumble.
Dolphins do not have a pure fullback. They've used Williams in this role down close this year. From just outside the 1, Ajayi slams it in there, and he runs into a green wall. Nothing going. It'll be third and goal.
He kind of goes in upright. Everything gets stood up.
Yeah, no movement by the Dolphins offensive line.
Not at all, and he runs into the back of his offensive line, standing straight up and down.
And guys, that was Williams and Tunsil one-on-one there, and good job again by Leonard Williams, having a great first half for New York.
Almost have to think play action here, Mike.
Third and goal, Moore will roll it, thought about running, now will throw, and it is caught inbounds or no. They say no, incomplete for Deion Sims at the sideline. It was tight, he held on to it, but they say out of bounds before the catch was completed.
And really no place to go. Well played by the Jets defense. Good throw, but I don't think he's in bounds either.
Let's see, catch there. Oh, that left knee skins down.
Does he have possession when that knee is down? The knee definitely hit.
They're going to look at it.
And they're going to challenge. Adam Gates is going to throw the challenge flag. He made a 20-yard throw as well.
That's a heck of an arm.
He got it from the 25 down to the 5, so the officials could see it.
But the real question will be, when does he gain possession? His knee definitely hits, but does he have the ball then?
I kind of thought
Miami is challenging the ruling of on the field of an incomplete pass.
I thought he had kind of double clutched it while laying on his side.
So we'll look, is that knee down after the catch here? Tight one for Pete Morelli and New York to look at in review.
Well, it looks like he's got it there.
And that last look before break,
After
Tony thought it was
reviewing
in.
the
I think
play,
you're right.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. The receiver had control and a knee down in the end zone.
So touchdown for Deion Sims, his third receiving touchdown of the year, an extra point away from a tight game.
My initial thought was maybe he double clutched it. There's no doubt both knees hit the ground. He's got possession of the ball, controls it all the way.
Yeah, never lost control, and really a well-thrown ball by Matt Moore. He didn't have a lot at the beginning of that play, Doug.
Yeah, he did a great job of buying some time by making a move on a defender while he's getting outside, letting his receivers work, and then a perfectly placed throw.
So the touchdown stands. Andrew Franks to tie the game. And that one is no good. Off the left upright. He had a horrific warm-up. He could not make anything pregame. And Franks misses the extra point. So the Dolphins get the challenge, get the touchdown, but don't get the tie. 7-6 Jets. This Thursday night special is brought to you by the Mazda Drive for Good event. Driving matters most when you're driving for good. And by the $10 any pizza deal from Pizza Hut. Carry out a large pizza, any toppings, any recipe, just $10. Must be caroling as the Christmas season gains on a Santa's ride a week from tonight. Holiday spirit all around this New York metropolitan area. Marshall goes over to get it. Touchback, Jets will take over at the 25. We talked about this earlier, the roller coaster it's been for the Jets at the quarterback position this year. It's not the way it should have been constructed. Hackenberg was drafted after all the financial back and forth. They bring back Fitzpatrick, who had a great year last year. But they had 4 guys. Remember, Geno Smith got punched in the face and won the starting job but never got to play. Fitzpatrick struggled. Smith comes in, he gets hurt. Fitzpatrick struggles the second time. So Petty takes over. Hackenberg inactive again tonight. He's in red shirt mode for this year. The second-round pick this year is doing what the fourth-round pick Petty did last year. Sit, watch, and learn. And this is a 4-game audition to see what he has in terms of planning for next year. Nice when you have Bilal Powell running the way he has the last 6 quarters. First down gain of 9. Tony, in that situation, it's so hard for a team with all that instability at the most important position in sports.
You've got to declare it. You've got to let the team know who their leader is. They were coming off a great year with Fitzpatrick. I'm not sure why that didn't happen from day one, why he wasn't announced the starter and go.
And we've seen that with Fitzpatrick, some of his other stops. That good run, and then the next year you come back and he's not able to equal it at a franchise record 31 touchdowns in 2015. Powell again, good cut back to the left. First down run to the 38-yard line. And here's Heather with more on the Jets starter of the moment.
Yeah, Mike, Bryce Petty admitted yesterday that he was more nervous than usual in Sunday's win, but said the key is to manage and harness those nerves in a positive way and then use fear of failure as motivation and not as a hindrance. He said his goal tonight, just let himself play, get the ball out quick and not make the same mistakes he made in his last start.
He was telling us, Heather, that's been his story. From his days, he was a 3-star recruit. Headed for Tennessee, coaching change, got to Baylor. He has Powell here, and a good first down gain of 8 for Bilal Powell, who's carrying the load. Doug, when we met with him yesterday, he just got this sense of he embraces the path that he has been put on to go out and try to win this job.
He really was upbeat and smiley about it and talking, admitted some mistakes, but thought, you know, he's very confident about his arm and his progress so far, so he was excited to get back out on the field. And he said, yeah, he was a little nervous. Yeah, in the first half, he had some of that fear of failure thing, and then the second half, his athleticism took over a little bit, and he just started to compete.
Matt Forte playing with that bulky right knee is in there. He picked up the block on Alonso. Alonso knocked him over. But the pass complete to Enunwa, made a man miss, and Quincy Enunwa running through the secondary to the 27. A pickup of 27 yards.
Watch Kiko Alonso take on Matt Forte in the backfield. I mean, as a back, you got to pick up the blitz and stick your nose in there. And Forte steps up to meet him and takes a lick. Alonso stays after it, but the ball's gone down the field.
And Quincy Enunwa, we talked about lack of production from the tight ends, but he really is like a tight end. He's in the middle of the field making these plays for the Jets.
6'2", 225 out of Nebraska. His 48th catch on the season. Petty on the move. He looks comfortable throwing on the move. Looking for Marshall, incomplete. As Brandon Marshall is being covered by Xavier Howard, a second-round pick. Dominican Sue with pressure again.
Again, in the middle of the field, chasing all the way, throwing people around, hitting the gap all day long. And out on the corner, I'll tell you what, Howard's ready to play. Howard's right on, stride for stride. With the injury to Maxwell, very fortunate he's back.
Second and 10. And Petty throws an interception right into the waiting arms of Cameron Wake. He's got a sack and he's got a pick here tonight. One of those mistakes. Cameron Wake dropping back. A little bit of a wrinkle thrown in defensively by Vance Joseph. And Cameron Wake comes up with the interception, the first of his NFL career. Wednesday at 8, the moment Mother Nature decided a playoff game between two bitter rivals. Do you remember the Fog Bowl? Timeline will take you back. Wednesday, 8 Eastern, only on NFL Network. I gave our crew the quiz. Do you remember who called that game on CBS? Terry Bradshaw was in the booth with our pal Vern Lundquist.
Wow.
Congrats on a great run. Vern wrapped up last week with the Army-Navy game. Interception thrown by Petty. Moore gets it at the 36. Marquise Gray only a yard on that one. Let's go back to the interception.
Yes, this was a blitz and a drop by Cameron Wake. And Petty sees the blitz, but he doesn't see the drop. He thinks he's got straight man coverage, thinks he's going to have Marshall wide open, never sees Cameron Wake.
One of those you give a young quarterback, right?
Never saw him until the last minute, Doug. It looked like he tried to pull it back, but it was too late.
That's what made it so easy and soft. He tried to hold on at the last second and couldn't hold on to the ball.
As we said, his first career picture, Cameron's keeping that football. Jay Ajayi running left, nowhere to go. Calvin Pryor off for a strong safety spot to make the stop. But one more point on that interception. That's the way Miami got an interception in the first matchup between these teams, and that time it was Jordan Phillips who was on the nose dropping, and he came up with an interception. So Vance Joseph has used that multiple times, and he got the Jets again.
As a quarterback, the only way you see those drop defenders is knowing what the blitz is, and from film study, knowing that when these two guys come, this guy's dropping out because you're not going to see him.
3rd and 8. Off in time, pressure coming. Moore hit as he throws, incomplete. High for Devontae, or rather for Kenny Stills. Justin Burris was there in coverage, and the Jets bring pressure and force a 3 and out.
Well, this is an all-out blitz. There will be no safety in the middle of the field. They're all coming. So he's got one-on-one. He's setting and trying to throw the ball to a curl route, which is a rhythm-type throw that you have to set your feet. He could have laid this ball down the middle of the field, potentially for Landry, and just given him a chance to go get it.
Matt Darr kicks to Nick Marshall again. Middle of the field, tough to catch. Body's there. Don't know if it hit a Jet first. Marshall's on it, and he's got some space because the Dolphins were coming at the ball. Finally, Spencer Pasinger escorts him to the sideline, and he'll be out of bounds over at the 32-yard line. A little messy there. It'll look like a nice 15-yard punt return in the box score tomorrow morning. It's a good thing he got on it. It did hit the foot of his teammate Darryl Roberts first. Monday at 7 Eastern, in-depth look at the latest playoff picture after all the Sunday Week 15 action. NFL Total Access, Monday, live on NFL Network at 7 Eastern time. Jets take over at their own 32, scored on the opening drive of this game, leading 7-6 because of the missed extra point. Outstanding half continues for Bilal Powell. Gain of 12 and a first down to the 44-yard line.
Boy, just a great job by Winters here, sealing the right side, and the turn back to the left. Just a gaping hole. Jets are running the ball very well. Offensive line's doing a decent job in the run game. It's the blitzes that have gotten to the quarterback.
Powell, 15 touches, 91 yards so far for the Jets. And again, 3rd time that Miami has fallen to a hard count here. Jordan Phillips.
Neutral zone infraction, number 97 defense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's your only weapon as a quarterback against the blitz, is to use dummy cadence, hard cadence, anything you can to get them to move and show their hand and help your offensive linemen out. And the offensive linemen appreciate it so much because these guys on the edge are fast, and if they're guessing on snap count, you're in trouble. Almost had it.
So 1st and 5, and Penny will take the deep shot. Marshall couldn't bring it in. Step for step, Xavier Howard right there with him, Tony.
You heard the kill. He saw the man coverage, knew right where he wanted to go to Marshall, took a shot, and actually put the ball on the money. I believe this ball should have been caught.
Howard may not have played many games, but he's got the veteran move down, right?
How's that left arm wrapped?
I think that's pass interference.
But there's so much they can get away with now. Oh, you're allowed to wrap the arm around if you don't turn the shoulder. You're allowed to do that. There's so much contact now down the field.
Hey, kill!
Second and 5. He looked to throw the quick hitch. He wasn't there, and he goes down. Issa Abdul-Quddus, the safety, with a sack. First of the year.
And this is just a little bit of inexperience, Doug. He recognized the blitz, but you've got to throw it quick. If it's not there, you can't hold the ball on a 3-step drop against the blitz.
Again, it was a little bit of blitz zone, and all of a sudden the defender drops out underneath what he thought was going to be an open throw. And as you said, hold the ball, hit by the blind side, fortunate to hang on to it.
Abdul-Quddus, not too far from where he plays college ball at Fordham. His second career sack, had one with the Lions 2 years ago. So for 1st and 5, it's 3rd and 7. Petty throws it for Powell, who gets right to the 46. The mark's going to be a half-yard short. As the line judge came in short of the 46, the head linesman was closer to the 46. And we will see a measurement here with 4:26 till halftime.
Powell was kind of just in that chip mode of helping out in protection and leaks out. Hit him on the check down, and you can't see where the mark is from that angle, but he's bailing his quarterback out quite a bit. Petty's doing a great job of moving in the pocket, finding his check downs today. Really doing a good job of working in the pocket and going through progressions.
You have to take a card out, see if you can sneak it in there between the nose of the ball. Nope, it's there, first down, just touching the front of the stick. So it is a first down for Todd Bowles' team.
Second time on 3rd down, Powell has caught a ball and made someone miss to pick up a first down.
See, this knee came down right at the edge of the NFL logo, where the ball was when the knee came down. That would have been just inside the 47, shy of the 46. Adam Gase has used one challenge. I'm going to use the second one.
I think he's going to win this one too, Mike.
Miami is challenging the ruling on the field.
And it would set up a 4th and 1.
Of making the first down.
As they check the spot here. But it means no matter what, he would have one challenge if he wins this. If he doesn't, he's out of challenges for the rest of the game. They'll look at it in New York and here in New Jersey. So it looks like Adam Gase, who had only challenged once in his first 13 games, is going to win 2 challenges in the first half of game 14. Here's Pete Morelli with the call. It was a first down call on the field. If it's moved back, it'll be 4th and a yard. Here's the spot. Knee down. Where's the ball there? Clearly still in the blue of the NFL logo.
Right at the 47-yard line.
And that would be a full yard shy of the first down. Here's Pete.
After reviewing the play, the runner's knee was down. The ball will be placed at the 47-yard line. Miami has won 2 challenges by rule. They're entitled to another challenge during this game. It is 4th down.
I don't know what you think, Tony, but I think it's unfair. You've won those 2 challenges. You shouldn't lose the ability to challenge because the officials didn't get the call right.
I used to argue that when
right?
I was coaching. Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're saying, look, Coach, we're not going to get 3 wrong in a game. Come on.
But it has to be in the back of your mind because outside of turnovers, scoring plays in the final 2 minutes, you have one challenge for the balance of the game. So the Jets will go here, at least line up to go on 4th and 1, and we get a timeout from the Jets sideline.
New York timeout, first timeout, 30-second timeout.
Be right back. Mike Tirico, Doug Flutie, Tony Dungy up here in the booth, Heather Cox on the sideline. Timeout taken by the Jets, 4th and 1. Still lining up to go. You guys can first guess this if you want. What are you thinking here?
Well, they got their wide receivers in the game. They run the ball well out of that 10 personnel, 4 wides, 1 back, no tight end in the game. Actually, tight end is in the backfield as a lead back, so now they can run some power football.
Brandon Bostic back there, and Nunwa lining up with him to lead the way for Powell's not going to get there. Kiko Alonso got to the other side of the line of scrimmage, made the play to start with for Miami, and on downs. And a great challenge by Adam Gase. The Jets will turn it over to the Dolphins near midfield.
Kiko Alonso just runs through from the backside, reading it coming downhill all the way. Just shoots the gap. Bostic can't get to him.
Missed him. Bostic's got to make that block.
That's committing to it. You know, it's a 4th down play. I'm taking a shot at this. I'm just committing. I'm taking my gap and going hard, and he makes the play.
He went harder than the man who was blocking him.
And Tony, I saw you talking to Kiko Alonso before the game.
There was some doubt whether he was going to play. He told me he felt good, and he made a great play there.
Dealing with a hamstring injury, broken right thumb. Missed last week, back this week. The Jets are now challenging this play.
New York will challenge the previous play of the line to gain.
Let's go see if the knee did come down. Watching Alonso on the play. Let's take a peek at the knee here with Powell, because he kept going after the hit.
He's still up on his back.
Right.
And he's rolling and moving. No knee touches his left elbow may have touched the ground when he rolled himself over.
And the question is, where's the ball when that left elbow comes down again? Line to gain the 46.
Does it? No, his elbow. Oh, you can't see. But the other factor is, was the whistle blown? Did they assume he was down?
And I still don't think he ever made it to the 46-yard line.
That's a heck of an effort. Paysinger thinks the play's over.
No, there you see at the very end.
Yeah, he's down before he gets to the 46. I don't think they win this challenge.
Yeah, right there, that forearm is down. And again, we had this a few years ago. Above the wrist bone is where, because your hand can be down, that's legal, but the body part that deems to be down starts above that bone in your wrist.
Just like an ankle or a shin is down. And it's amazing how you have to put the verbiage in to get it black and white.
And they're going to be looking at that left arm, I would assume at this point, Tony, what you saw at the same time.
Yeah, that's a tremendous effort, but I don't think he made it. I think that wrist does hit the ground before the 46-yard line.
We'll see if this either stands or is confirmed. Is there enough clear and obvious evidence to turn it back the other way? I don't think we saw that in this, so we'll see what Pete Morelli says. Doesn't look like the Jets offense is moving anywhere near the field.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. New York will be charged a timeout, their second team timeout. First down,
and that means that the Jets will just have one challenge remaining for the rest of the night. Again, the big picture story here, guys. 3:49 left. Jets got off to the quick start of the first drive. This is a game Miami has to have. They have this game here. They play at Buffalo on Christmas Eve, then New England at home on New Year's Day. They're tied with Denver right now in the wild card chase in the 6th and final spot. For the moment, trying to do it with Matt Moore, their backup quarterback. Jay Ajayi, first down carry, in about 4 to the Jets side of midfield. Broncos hosting the Patriots tomorrow afternoon. Baltimore and Tennessee right behind at 7 and 6. So huge game here for Miami.
And those Miami, talking to their coaches, they realize it's going to take 10 wins to make it. You don't want that 10th one to have to be against New England on the last day. You want to go out and get these next 2.
3:15 till halftime. Back to Ajayi to the left. And Sheldon Richardson waiting there. Only a gain of a yard. Heather, we see Matt Moore as Ryan Tannehill went out of the lineup last week.
Yeah, you mentioned that injury to Tannehill's left knee on Sunday. I actually talked to Ryan, who came onto the field during warm-ups, played a little catch with Matt Moore. Tannehill has a full plaster cast on his leg. It's from his hip to his ankle. He said it's because he actually tore the MCL off the bone. So they had to completely immobilize his leg to allow that ligament to reattach. He is in good spirits, Mike, but they won't have a timetable until they take that cast off.
It's a flag thrown here.
False start, number 10.
As Kenny Stills.
5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Moves towards the line and says it's his fault. And it'll be 3rd and 9 instead. You heard Mike Florio on Football Night talk the earliest Tannehill could be back would be week 17, but given the medical that Heather just gave there, it's hard to see that scenario playing out.
It really is. You know, great news that it wasn't an ACL, but they are going to have to go with Matt Moore for a while.
You see him talking, Tony, with T.J. Yates, who used to be with Houston, Atlanta for a year. He is the backup they signed this week. They have a veteran backup. Play clock down to 1, and Miami forced to take a timeout. So the Dolphins,
Miami first team timeout. 30
not
second
taking advantage
timeout.
of this good field position to get this drive started with 2:06 to go.
Well, Matt Moore got a little caught up there with protection-wise in the three-man front and what he was doing with the offensive line.
We saw Adam Gase shaking his head. Youngest coach in the league. He wasn't even a big-time player at his high school, at Marshall High School. He was playing tight end, breaking down game film, but he had that nose for coaching. Got to Michigan State. Nick Saban had him around doing some things. Then he went to LSU with Saban. Finally got his NFL shot, scouting assistant, then an assistant coach in Detroit with the Lions. And when he got to Denver, the opportunity to grow the offensive coordinator after Mike McCoy left. A couple of years there. Last year with Jay Cutler in Chicago. Hired one of the 4 rookie head coaches this year in the NFL at 8-5. Pressure coming. Moore gets hit, puts it up top. Racing is Stills, who's got it. Kenny Stills. Touchdown Dolphins. 52 yards as Moore hangs in against the blitz.
Doug, you called this after the last blitz that he could have gone deep to Landry.
Yeah, the last shot he had was a blowout blitz and could have gone down the middle of the field, did not. This time, Miles is going to come from the outside edge over here, unblocked, but Moore hangs in there, and with a post route, you can just lay it out there and put air on it and let him run to it. Kenny Stills crossed the defender's face, working on Burris, got across his face to the middle of the field, and a beautiful throw.
He recognized this time no middle safety, and he could just put that ball up, just as you said.
That is the big play guy they've been looking for. He's had a good year. Franks missed the last extra point, hit the left upright. This one still has that little draw, but he knocks it through. A career-high 7 touchdowns this year for Kenny Stills. 52 yards on the home run ball. And for the first time tonight, at the 2-minute warning, Miami on top. Lexus halftime coming up. Jameis Winston's going to talk about the matchup with Dak Prescott on Sunday Night Football. Tony was down to talk to Jameis this week. And a little look ahead to the AFC Championship rematch. And the Broncos, the champions, trying to get back in the playoffs. Chris Rose, LaDainian Tomlinson, Rodney Harrison, Willie McGinnis for the Lexus halftime. Coming up, Rodney was teammates with LT and Willie back in the day in different stops. So a reunion with Chris coming up at the half. Nick Marshall returning for the Jets. Spencer Pasinger's second special teams stop of this game at the 21. Let's go back to the Stills touchdown.
When you have all-out blitz, you know you don't have any safety help. So the defensive back Burris is inside out, but Kenny Stills still sells him, gets across his face, and beats the technique. The technique for a defender is stay inside, protect the post. But when a wide receiver knows the middle of the field's open, he's going to get there.
And Stills did a great job.
These guys like Adam Gase. They've really connected with the 38-year-old coach very well. Jets 1 timeout in this 2-minute drill. Penny, look out. Flag down as he gets hit. Powell with the reception and gets out of bounds. Man, is he having a good half. Right near the sticks in the first down, but back to the flag.
Holding. Number 67 offense. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
Brian Winters and Ndamukong Suh's motor is running tonight.
Suh working on Winters, just runs him over, and I guess it's the pull down. You know, that's the trick of the offensive line. When you're getting bull rush and you're going to fall backwards, you grab the jersey and pull with you, pull the guy on top of you, and it got caught.
You think Mr. Suh knows this is one of the few national television games and everybody's watching? Your all-pro ballots are waiting, kids. Man, is he having a half. From the 12 with a 3-man rush. Petty underneath, complete. Sharon Peak, the rookie out of Clemson, with the catch. Bobby McCain, the tackle. Again, all the growth for Bryce Petty. 2-minute offense, no huddle. He did so much no huddle during his college days at Baylor. A little more sophisticated, obviously, here. Suh busting in again, and Marshall dropped it. Brandon Marshall let it get to his body, didn't catch it with his hands, and here's it from some of the Jets fans.
Excellent read, well thrown ball. Brandon Marshall has to catch this ball.
He's just hooking it up. He's just ready to run. He's thinking about catching this ball, getting back underneath Michael Thomas and getting to the sideline. He wants to move before he finishes the catch.
Miami has 2 timeouts and gets the ball to start the second half. So they might be in a stretch here where they can extend this game. Bringing pressure on Petty. It's picked up, and the Petty pass is complete to Robbie Anderson. That's his comfort zone. These 2 guys who work together on the scout team and the backups connecting here when it matters.
Anderson working on Howard, and Howard's had great coverage all day, but boy, what a break out of the route, and the timing again of Petty. He's made, that's the second comeback route that he has thrown with perfect timing and placement.
And that was a big throw. They really didn't want to punt the ball there to the Dolphins.
From the 33, Petty's pass, another one, tapping the toes, got him down. Quincy Enunwa at the 46-yard line, pickup of 13.
You're getting near the half here. You're going to work the boundary. The defense knows it. So Michael Thomas runs underneath this throw, and he squeezes it in there just over Thomas's head. Tap the toes, inbound. That's a couple of back-to-back throws, Coach.
Impressive.
Minute 10 till half. Petty middle behind Enunwa, trying to get it over the good coverage of Michael Thomas, and incomplete. You know, you get to this time of year, and what are you playing for at 4-9? Well, the one thing we can say, especially after that first quarter against San Francisco, the guys didn't just tank on their head coach Todd Bowles. They played hard, Tony.
No, they are playing hard. They've done a good job defensively on the running game and on the Jai. You can see that energy is there.
That's always a sign that we like our coach.
Yes.
You know, we see him getting some heat on the back pages of the tabloids in New York, and we want to help him out here. Petty gets out of the tackle box and will just bench it, throw it incomplete as he had nobody open. Andre Branch was coming in. Now the officials coming back to talk to referee Pete Morelli because the Dolphins wanted intentional grounding, but Morelli told him he was out of the tackle box, so well within his rights to get rid of it.
It was Dominic Sue again with pressure. He just is, he's got the motor going. That time he did. I think I could have had that pressure, Coach. Winters, he thought he had a double team coming and it never came.
3rd and 10 with a minute 2 to go. Powell, check down, can he get there? Beautiful move by Powell for the first down at the 38-yard line. The Jets have that 1 timeout remaining. They'll hold on to it with 45 to go.
I like taking my timeouts when you know you can save time. And that would have been a good opportunity to save a chunk.
Jets have converted 3rd and 10 twice, incomplete for Powell. 33 seconds left and a half for Powell. 112 total yards from scrimmage.
And this is the 3rd time we've seen this. Short ball, make Kiko Alonso miss, and pick up a first down.
A little athleticism there now.
Alonso will not want to see that one in the film room tomorrow.
No, you want to see the 4th down stop.
18 touches for Powell. If you're just joining us, Matt Forte, who injured his right knee. MRI said torn meniscus. He says he's been playing with that for most of the year. He is active, has played a few snaps. In the middle of the field, no timeouts. Jerron Peak again. He gets to the 30, now 27, 1 timeout. 26 seconds left. And the Jets will take their final one. Be right back. This drive started at the 22. Guys, Bryce Petty having a decent night so far in your opinion, Tony?
He really is. I'm impressed with where he's throwing the ball, making the proper reads, Doug.
This is 3rd and 2. They're in Folks field goal range. Good pickup on Wake. Marshall, incomplete. Marshall thought he had a step here and just could have gotten a little more air on it. Petty could have reached it.
Yeah, Petty tries to put this up early and quick and try to get it there quickly, and Marshall's still in the gear of running down the field, does not see the ball thrown, it's underthrown. If he had been a little more patient, had the shot to go down the field. He had press coverage out there, one-on-one. I was a little surprised at that because of the situation with no timeouts. You would have thought soft zone and make him throw it in front of you.
48-yard attempt, negligible wind. Nick Folk. His only misses have been blocked field goals, 3 of them. Laces were facing him, but Folk does a nice job and knocks it through. A 48-yard field goal for Folk. And the Jets' 2-minute drive gets 3. And the margin is 3. Just 18 seconds left in this first half. Miami looking for the season sweep of the Jets. Over the years, there have been so many good games between these teams. It's been a rivalry, a half-century plus, of a lot of memorable moments, to say the least. Nick Folk, credit him on that one. The laces facing him, knocking it through for 48.
Kicking the laces. I was in Chicago. Barefoot kicker Kevin Butler, holding for Kevin in practice, gave him the laces, split his foot wide open, and never held again.
Ended your holding career.
Yeah, he would not kick another ball with me holding.
Folk will just put this on the ground, try to limit the return, keep it out of the hands of the good returners. It's Marquise Gray will take it to the 35-yard line. We mentioned Jets, Dolphins moments over the years. Who could forget the fake spike? Anytime this happens, it's referred to as the Marino play. 22 years ago, Aaron Glenn was the Jets corner, and he had just been beaten for about a 12-yard gain inbounds. And the pass to Ingram from Marino. And the Dolphins come up with one of the memorable moments. And Dan's still around this franchise, special assistant to the team president, and his voice and his influence is very significant in this organization.
We were talking to Coach about it. He was part of the influence of keeping Matt Moore as a backup quarterback because of the relationship Dan had with his backups.
16 seconds, 2 timeouts. Not going to just take a knee and try to get down the field a little bit. Beautiful pass break up, but a flag called on Doug Middleton for pass interference, and all of a sudden Miami's to the Jets' 45-yard line.
Boy, Middleton saw an opportunity to go for the ball and decides he's going to take that shot. Ran across the back of the legs for the interference
defensive
call.
Pass interference, number 36. Automatic first down.
Tony, talk to me what you're thinking here, because you're at the 45, 10 seconds left as we watch the penalty again. 2 timeouts for Miami.
Yeah, you can use the middle of the field. You need about 12 more yards, and I would not be surprised to see a deep in route here. They're even going to move it up a little bit more, but yeah, in route, you tight end, receivers in the middle of the field, take that quick timeout.
They did move the ball 2 yards forward to the 43. That's significant. Their kicker, Franks, does not have a long distance range comparable to other kickers. Now 51 yards maybe is max. Here's more. Harris pressures him. He gets rid of it. Incomplete. Is there a receiver over there? Is he in the tackle box? Is that grounding? They're going to come talk about this here. I think that might be grounding, guys.
He did drift hard to his right.
It is. It is grounding.
Almost got to the hash mark, but not quite.
Not intentional grounding. Number 8.
With 6 seconds left.
10-yard penalty and loss of down. 3rd down.
Should be 2nd down, not 3rd.
Well, tackle box would be middle of the field. So all he has to do is get outside the middle of the field.
Very close. But the Dolphins made a mistake on that, Doug. You should turn the most outside guy loose. Harris got there a little quicker.
It's intentional grounding in the last minute of the half, and I was surprised Pete Morelli didn't bring that up right away. Now he's run over to Todd Bowles.
Does he want the runoff, and then Miami would have to take a timeout or the half would be over?
And now Pete's trying to explain to Adam Gase, you're going to have to use one of those timeouts.
By rule, intentional grounding requires the clock to be run 10 seconds. 10 seconds will be off the clock. That is the end of the half.
Yeah, so Gase chooses not to use it. And then the half is Rodney Harrison getting a final word from Jarvis Landry. Tony, you see what happens when Rodney's not with you?
I see, and I know he's going to say something in the halftime about how they can get the ball to Landry better in the second half.
You know his act, don't
yes.
you? Lexus halftime report. Chris Rhodes will be with those guys. Coming up at the break here in New Jersey. 13-10 lead for the Dolphins. Back here in New Jersey as you look across the Hudson at New York. Third quarter, Miami gets the ball first, leading the Jets 13-10. Interesting first half. Jets jumped out to the 7-0 lead. Let's check the buzz from that first half. Bilal Powell, 113 scrimmage yards, continuing his good performance from last week. Most by a Jet in the first half since Sean Green 5 years ago in 2011. Cameron Wake, the oldest player, he's 34, with a sack and interception of the same game. Last time it happened, Rondé Barber, who's going to call the game on Fox with Chris Myers, Saints and Cardinals tomorrow. Kenny Stills, third touchdown catch of 50 yards or more, most since Mark Duper did it for the Dolphins 30 years ago. Gets us to 13-10 as we get set to start the third quarter. Tonight's Next Gen Stats are presented by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing. Mike Tirico, Doug Flutie, Tony Dungy, and Heather Cox back with you here, MetLife Stadium. It snowed this morning here in New York, a couple of inches of snow, but quickly turned over to rain, and the temperature has stayed steady throughout. It's still 35 degrees. It's supposed to rain a little bit overnight, but the temperature in about 15 hours when the Lions and Giants kickoff here is supposed to be in the mid-50s. MetLife Stadium hosting 2 games in about 14 hours. That's why you see no Jets logos in the end zone. Doug, it feels like we're doing a Notre Dame game.
We're up at Notre Dame, right? The hash mark through the end zone. No major logos.
The old school days, the way the end zones used to look, right? They do a great job of flipping the building around from Jets green to Giants blue. Many will be working overnight to get that done here at MetLife, but they can't do the end zones because of the weather conditions. So the diagonal lines here is Kenyon Drake from out of the end zone, taken to the 22-yard line as we take a look at some next-gen stats now, presented by Mercedes-Benz. Tony, let's look at Jay Ajayi with 8 in the box this year. It's been really good. Second to Rob Kelly from Washington, but not tonight.
No, and to be successful against 8 defenders in the box, you have to create some seams, and the Miami offensive line has not been able to create a seam for him tonight. Great penetration and great discipline by the Jets defensive line. No holes in that 8-man front.
Ajayi's overall numbers continue to be down. 10 carries, 19 yards. He loses the ball here. Marquise Gray was on it for Miami, and the tight end comes up with the recovery.
Boy, Darren Lee overruns this play and created a gash, but at the end of the run, it comes out running into his own man, not even a hit. Miami very fortunate to get this back. It stays loose for a little while on the ground.
This is, of course, the scene of the butt fumble with the Jets.
Why not?
I had to bring that up.
Thanksgiving 4 years ago. And some of those things hang with you. 2nd and 3, Ajayi again, right side. Twist and turn. He got attacked hard by Sheldon Richardson and Calvin Pryor, but gets the first down to the 35. And here's Heather Cox.
Well, I had a chance to catch up with both coaches, Adam Gase at the Dolphins, all about his offense. He said the Jets D is doing a good job mixing things up against Matt Moore. He's got to do a better job converting on 3rd down. As for Todd Bowles, he said our quarterback Bryce Petty is keeping us in this game, and our defense is taking pride in stopping the run. Jay Ajayi, which is 19 yards in the first half, 111 the last time these two teams met, but they've got to do a better job against the pass, Mike.
All right, Heather, here's Ajayi from the 35, gets the first 3 carries here. We'll gain 3 until maybe 4 until Jordan Jenkins makes the stop. Heather mentioned the 111-yard performance by Ajayi in the Week 9 meeting between these teams, a win for the Dolphins. The 2 prior weeks, he went over 200 yards. One of 4 running backs in NFL history to go back-to-back over 200 yards. It begs the question, what's happened since those 3 games?
Well, a little bit of banged-up offensive line. Pouncey was in there at center for the 2 200-yard games. Tunsil's been a little nicked here and there. But also now teams know about him. You know, you're putting 8 men up there, you're hitting the gaps, you're more concerned about him, you'll play the play action later.
Here we go, 180!
From the 39, Matt Moore gets rid of it. Incomplete. Devontae Parker peeled off of the 4th-round rookie Justin Burris in coverage for the Jets.
All-out blitz there, tried to anticipate a throw and get it out there early, which is a veteran move. Moore does a great job getting the ball out of his hands, not holding it long, anticipating throws, and not taking the sack.
See what the Jets do here on 3rd and 6. They've brought pressure, a couple of 3rd-down situations. Brings some heat again, and Moore puts it up top for Parker, underthrown, and Burris comes up with his first NFL interception. Justin Burris, the rookie out of North Carolina State, comes up with his first NFL pick on the underthrow by Moore, and the Jets get the early turnover. This Thursday night special is brought to you by Lexus. See your Lexus dealer. And by Gatorade, the proven sports fuel. Quite a tradition in Rockaway Beach, the Santa Suit 5K. Usually the week before Christmas, a little snow for the run as well. Well, Burris will remember this night. First NFL interception. He had 6 in his days at North Carolina State. Bryce Petty takes over from the 30, back to the hot hand. Bilal Powell, 13-yard gain and a first down, and almost took it a long way. Tony, let's go back to the interception by Burris.
Yes, and this is classic Todd Bowles. Everybody's standing up. They're not sure. Matt Moore knows they're coming, doesn't know who's coming, where they're coming from. A little confusion, but they pick it up. He just doesn't step into this one. He's got him, but the underthrow allows Burris to make the interception. Went to the right place, just didn't get enough on it.
13 for Powell on first down. Pressure, gets away from Earl Mitchell, completes it to Powell, who's 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and Andre Branch cleans it up. Nothing happening there. I beg your pardon, it was Andre Branch there. It was Mitchell. I was right the first time on the penetration.
Yeah, it was Mitchell coming through, and it forced him. He was really looking deep. He was going to take a shot deep for Marshall. Instead, he pulls off it, tries to keep the play alive, gets it out to Powell. Powell's just racking up the receptions. Another one of those balls. Maybe you should have just thrown an incompletion there and gone back.
Thanks for the catch. The -7 doesn't help the average. 2nd and long. Powell with Mitchell again chasing him, and the gain is only 4 yards. It'll be 3rd and long. Good series for Earl Mitchell, who left the field with an injury in the first half.
He did a great job the whole way of chasing that play down from the backside, not getting, you know, he didn't make the tackle, but he was there to disrupt until others could come join the party and bring him to the ground. Again, a lot of screen passes, which can slow down the pass rush.
Jets were 1 shy in the huddle. That delayed them coming out of the huddle. 3rd and 12. Matt Forte in the game next to Petty. And the throw in the middle is incomplete, intended for Quincy Enunwa. And the safety Michael Thomas, the linebacker Kiko Alonso were there. The Jets unable to get anything going. After the first down picked up by Powell, they'll punt it away.
Yeah, he's not going to get the first down, but he gets a sit route in the middle of the field. There should be a completion, but Sue gets his hand up in the middle of the field and just makes him alter the throw. And all of a sudden it's low.
Block punt! The Dolphins bust through. Walt Aikens blocks it, scoops it, scores it. Touchdown Miami! There's a flag down at the line of scrimmage. Let's see if Aikens was offside. He busted through on Lachlan Edwards, and Aikens, who had the defensive 2-point conversion against Arizona on Sunday.
Illegal formation offense. The penalty will be declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
Aikens gets the special team score here for Miami.
He's working on Brandon Wiles, and Wiles just doesn't get enough of him, doesn't get a piece at all. Aikens takes advantage of it, scoop and score. As you said, the 2-point conversion a week ago. He also had a great play on special teams down on the ball at the 1-yard line. He's on a roll.
They have an outstanding special teams group. Darren Rizzi, who's from this area, from New Jersey, went to Bergen Catholic High School, about 15 miles from here. And has Michael Thomas, Mike Hull, and the plays the last couple of weeks by Akins really has jumped this Miami cause. Extra point added here by Andrew Franks, and it is 20-10. Hope you have Akins on your fantasy football team. He scored points the last 2 weeks. Give him 6 on the block and the scoop and the score. The Dolphins up 10. Thursday night, down I-95 in Philadelphia. The co-tenants here, the Giants, after they play the Lions Sunday, get the Eagles on Thursday, 7:30 Eastern, with football night in Philadelphia. And then we'll have it for you 8:50 on NBC, NFL Network, and streaming on Twitter. 20-10. And Nick Marshall will bring it up. And won't get to the 20-yard line.
I see it now.
Adam Gase's team, they haven't beaten a lot of teams with winning records, but they're getting the job done. The start was not pretty, a little bit rocky. Lost to Seattle, lost to New England, lost to Cincinnati. And in those 1-4 first 5 weeks, they weren't scoring much, and their turnover margin was upside down. But they flipped it. Sunny days in South Florida, winning 7 of the last 8, scoring 6 more a game. Those Ajayi 200-yard games helped the rushing yards per game. Tony, what is it that you've seen of this team as they've gotten the job done the last 8 games?
Talking to Clyde Christensen, their offensive coordinator, he said the big difference was taking care of the football, not turning it over. That's what's been the change.
Jets take over from their own 19, now down 10. Penny takes the sideline shot, and that one's intercepted. Beautiful play on the ball by Tony Lippett. He was a wide receiver most of his Michigan State days, and he looked like a Spartan offensive player going up to get it from Penny. And the Jets starting to self-destruct here in the third quarter.
One-on-one on the outside. Petty checks to the pass, has one-on-one, going to throw the fade route up top just to go. A little late with the throw maybe, or just didn't get it out there. And a key point to this is, like you said, Lippett is a former wide receiver. He goes up, plays the ball, pulls it down. In my day, defensive backs couldn't catch, all right? So you didn't mind taking a chance.
Petty did everything right. He knew where to go, had the right idea, just didn't get enough on the ball, underthrew it.
The reaction from Byron Maxwell there on the sideline. Remember, he injured his ankle early on in this game, so they're down one corner. But Lippett, who did not play well early on, has really brought his play up the last 2 months with a big pick there. Moore from the 40. Middle of the field, Landry. Jarvis Landry on the spin. Gain at 20. Gain at 25. Landry gets 31 yards. And you can feel the momentum of this aggressive Dolphin team when they sense the Jets are struggling.
Jarvis Landry out of the slot. He's uncovered at the line of scrimmage at first. Okay, coverage is coming. Just wait. So now his eyes are boom, out of the break, make people miss. This is what he does. Yards after the catch, making people miss after the catch. The most yards out of the slot of any receiver in the league. Just a dynamic guy.
From the 29, Moore back to the air, putting it up top for Deion Sims, the tight end. He makes the catch. Sims keeps crawling down to the 1-yard line, trying to get in. Calvin Pryor took the worst of that, and he is shaken up for the Jets.
Sims is working on Lee here, Darren Lee, and the ball's perfectly thrown, but it's got so much air on it. I thought the free safety was going to come over and make the play, but having a big body guy like Sims going up, he's protected from the big hit, goes up, makes a play.
You could see him reach for that left arm after Sims was dragging him, so we get an injury timeout with the Dolphins inside the 2. Special teams mistake, turnover by the Jets. Dolphins with 1 touchdown and now at the 1, 1st and goal. Moore will give to the upback Damian Williams, and again, good penetration by that Jets defensive line. They came up big 2 plays on 1st and goal from inside the 2 on the prior goal line stand. Leonard Williams, Sheldon Richardson lead the penetration for New York.
Well, the last time down here, Miami had to go to the play action rollout to finally get the thing in the end zone. They're not making much headway up inside.
Ajayi tries to go low to break the play. Line judge Carl Johnson, former head of officiating for the NFL, back on the field, comes in, marks him short.
Deion Simon, number 93 in the middle, just throws the center to the side. The new center, Urbit, and just makes the play right there. I thought for a second he got underneath and into the end zone. But, I mean, that's just throwing people aside and getting into the backfield, making a play on the goal line.
Damian Williams in there. Moves to the outside. Moore rolls, throws across to Sims for the touchdown. Deion Sims, his second. Matt Moore's third. And the Dolphins, 2 quick scores here in the third quarter.
Just a great feel by Sims to sit it down. He's supposed to be running the court. He sits it down and gives a window, finds him right away. Matt Moore on the roll. Again, they had to get away from hammering the football. Starts to roll out. Sims pulls off his corner out and just sits in a window and gives his quarterback a throw.
The corner actually left him, started to come off on the running back in the flat. Great adjustment.
You see Rontez Miles out there, some of the inexperience of the Jets in the back end. Marcus Gilchrist on IR. Calvin Pryor was injured. He came back on the field. You see him there as Andrew Franks gets set for this extra point. And it's 27-10 Miami.
How's your insurance policy doing now?
Matt Moore?
Yes, sir.
So far, cashing in quite well.
We're talking to the Dolphins in the pregame, Mike. They were so confident in this guy, feeling he would play well, and he's made the right reads, done the right things. This play is just great veteran moxie. And then the second time he saw the blitz going to Stills on the post route, he's had an excellent day.
And here just a moment ago, the touchdown to Deion Sims again on the roll on 3rd and 1.
Yep, and this play was designed trying to get the back in the flat. He comes off to his second read. Great job by Moore.
If you weren't with us earlier, we mentioned it. Matt Moore, 5 years he has been the backup to Ryan Tannehill. And that's good and bad news. You're comfortable, you know the deal. But Doug, he was telling us it's 78 straight games that he had to go in there on Friday, go through the just in case you come in, let's make sure you're up to speed on things. And he had to flip that switch finally last Sunday against Arizona when Tannehill injured the knee.
I've been in that position, and I've gone through that. That is a discipline to make yourself prepare as a starter week in, week out. Spend extra time before or after practice. Go on the side, throw routes, keep a few guys after to get some timing down. Continuously doing that and never seeing the field. It's very difficult to make yourself do it week after week, and he was prepared.
From the goal line, Nick Marshall for the Jets. Paysinger again. 3 special teams tackles for Spencer Paysinger, and it'll be a long field for Bryce Petty. And you see Ryan Tannehill over there. You get to this situation and you lose your quarterback, and for many teams it's, oh man, we're done. But Tony, the advantage of keeping a guy like Moore and doing the things you just spoke of.
And knowing, as a coach, that's a great feeling, Doug, when you know you're going to have a guy that's going to prepare and he's going to be ready if called on. And you could sense that from the players. There was no sense of, oh, what are we going to do? We're playing our backup quarterback. They were very confident tonight.
He's on! Hey, kill! Tight!
Now here are the Jets down 17 halfway through the third. This has been the best thing they've done tonight. Bilal Powell runs for 4. He's got 12 carries and 63 yards on the evening.
He had a busy night, catching the ball, running the ball, being physical. And it seems as though the Jets should be in this game the way they've moved the ball on offense at times, and the special teams play and the play of Matt Moore, quarterback, and all of a sudden it's a 27-10 ball game.
Jets have outgained the Dolphins 241 to 207 so far, to your point, Doug. 2nd and 6. The slant for Robbie Anderson is incomplete. Broken up by Xavier Howard as he's over there in coverage.
Boy, Howard back in the lineup is so important. Maxwell banged up.
Really played well in Maxwell's stead.
He's running the slant right here, gets to the inside. He just reaches around the left or right arm, got a hand in there. And actually, Anderson's not, he's really a vertical guy, right? He doesn't want to be running slants into traffic too often.
Undrafted Robbie Anderson, rookie free agent at Temple. The Nunez, a 6th-round pick who they got last year in the draft, his 2nd season. So 3rd and 6. Twisting rush in front of Petty. His pass to Brandon Marshall, incomplete. Not a lot of space there as Tony Lippett was in coverage.
Boy, Lippett broke on that ball. Good read, coach. He went to the right guy, had the one-on-one, and he's off coverage. You're thinking you're going to have this throw, and Lippett puts his foot in the ground and breaks under it. If the ball was not a perfect throw to the outside, it was going 6 the other way.
A couple of long, good cover young corners the Dolphins are developing here in the last couple of drafts. Lachlan Edwards had the last one blocked. Gets this one away. It's 49, 50 yards. A lot of space for Jakeem Grant on the return. Darren Lee, the linebacker, makes the tackle at the 33-yard line. So Miami gets the score, holds the Jets to 3 and out. They're up 17 and feeling good midway through the 3rd. Well, tomorrow morning at 9 Eastern, what makes Eli Manning the NFL's current Iron Man? That starting streak still going. Guys are going to talk about that. Rich, Marshall, Michael, Mooch, Kurt Warner. NFL Game Day morning tomorrow 9 Eastern, live on NFL Network. We'll be previewing the Giants-Lions game. More, the slant. Landry on the run, look out. Jarvis Landry, 40, 30. Landry beats Pryor. Landry, touchdown Miami. Dolphins blowing the Jets out. 66 yards.
Well, Landry saw his buddy Odell Beckham do it on a slant route the other night, so he's like, I can do it too. He gets across the face of Pryor. You beat a guy's technique. There's nothing on the other side. It was man-to-man coverage. The simple little quarterbacks love it. Shoot, 5-yard throw. I'll take all that yardage.
We saw the stats about how effective he's been in the slot, and that's what it is, catching the ball and being able to run in traffic. He's the best in the NFL at it right now.
It'll be Matt Moore's 4th touchdown pass of the night. And after the Jets jumped up 7-0, 34-3 since for the Dolphins. Back to the Landry 66-yard home run ball.
You have man-to-man coverage, but there's no one inside. You cannot allow the man inside. And it was actually Marcus Williams in coverage on Landry, and Pryor's just trying to cover from the free safety position to get there. But once you beat a guy's technique, there is nothing on the other side, and it's pure speed. Now, if you have a whole player coach, right, you got a free guy in the middle, you can play outside technique and let him beat you to the inside a little. Another nice read by Moore, ball's out of his hand, and they're off and running. He's racking up some yards.
This game is fun.
Oh. You guys mentioned Odell Beckham and the slant that he caught in the Sunday night game against Dallas. It turned out to be the margin of victory there. As has often been documented, Beckham and Landry, teammates at LSU, longtime friends, and hyper competitive. They're always pushing each other, encouraging each other. And some of the video of the one-hand catches they would make at practice at LSU was some of the coolest stuff you've ever seen.
We saw Landry doing it before in the pregame. I didn't see him catch too many of them today, though. But it's just the pure athleticism, the raw talent. Well, that's a nice. And from a Matt Moore standpoint, just a quick read, right? Make the right decision, coach. Ball's out of your hand.
That's what's been so impressive about him. He is going to the right man.
Nick Marshall will take a knee. We'll take it down to Heather. More on the man who just scored.
Yeah, Mike, as you mentioned, Jarvis Landry and Giants receiver Odell Beckham, great friends, great teammates at LSU. Landry told me they still talk daily. They push each other, compete, make each other better. Landry also said at halftime during games, he actually checks his phone because usually there's a text from OBJ giving him advice for the second half. Makes me wonder if he texted and said, hey, buddy, why don't you score a 66-yard touchdown right now?
That's good. We all checked our phones. Al and Chris didn't send us any texts.
No, absolutely not.
No.
They don't care.
Here's the run for Powell up the middle. Bilal Powell gained 11 yards. Heather, you talk about Beckham and Landry, that receiving class that is now 3 years in the league. Obviously, there's such growth in the passing game, but all the
guy we'll see Sunday night, Mike Evans, is right there with him, and he's playing great ball for the Bucs.
With Jameis Winston, who Tony interviewed this week. You'll see that on Football Night in America on NBC before the Bucs and the Cowboys on Sunday night. But they're throwing so much in college. These guys are coming out as elite receivers.
Very polished when they get to the NFL.
All the 7-on-7 stuff that happens in the summer as well. Petty up top in Nunwa. Look out in the middle. Isa Abdul-Qaddus going to be called for the contact on Nunwa as the flag is thrown by the back judge.
Probably had time to pull off the hit, but you're not 100% sure whether he's going to come down with it or not, so you start to sell out for the hit.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, hit on a defenseless player, number 24 defense, a 15-yard penalty, an automatic first down.
But he had 2 steps and put the shoulder in there.
And got him in the helmet.
Don't pay anything close up there, that head, neck, and shoulder area. And again, defenseless as Nunwa went up for the ball.
Yeah, that's going to get called every time.
He's trying to pull up. And Tony, you think about your days playing safety and how different that pass wasn't thrown by quarterbacks.
That's half of it. That is half of it. Yes, those balls were not thrown.
To the Miami side at the Dolphins 49, and Petty throws complete to the tight end, and that is breaking news here in New York when the tight end catches the ball. Austin Seferian-Jenkins with the 16th tight end reception for the Jets this year. They're about 1 a week. Gain of 3. The Jets are 32nd on the list of tight end receptions this year, and there's a significant gap between 31st and 32nd.
It wasn't, I mean, and they've had a handful of catches in the last few weeks. That number's up.
21 fewer catches by tight ends compared to any other team in the league. But as Tony mentioned earlier, Quincy Enunwa gives you a lot of what a tight end would give you. Petty taking the shot downfield toward Brandon Marshall, incomplete. Xavier Howard again there in coverage.
Same blitz that Wake got the interception on, went to a go route this time, and again, Doug, I think he's got Brandon Marshall if he gets this ball out there.
I always like to put that ball up quick. The sooner I got it in the air, the better the margin of error before the defensive back can get his head around. So maybe throw it a little earlier just as that separation's starting to happen.
We talked about Howard before, the veteran move of the left arm. That was a beautiful play with that left arm coming across to deflect it. 3rd and 7, pressure picked up, back up top again, this time for Sharon Peak. And the coverage was right there, so it'll be 4th down.
Well, you get the press coverage on the outside, and you turn into this fade competition where you're trying to complete the perfect throw down the rail all day. When you get a lot of man-to-man coverage, you like to put those up because you can get an interference call or make a big play, but start going to some crossers. Crisscross guys, pick some people off, have an easy throw rather than going for the home run all the time.
34-10, they put Jarvis Landry back. You would assume in part the most sure-handed catcher back there. 34-10, you don't want a mistake down here to bring the Jets back in the game. Lachlan Edwards gets it away, Landry runs up, and we'll just grab it and hold him to the 16. The kick was 30 yards, all net yardage. 21 points in a 4-minute, 4-second stretch. Let's stretch this one out for Miami. Thursday night special is brought to you by Cialis. Big Apple here on Saturday. Look at all that traffic. That takes forever. It is subway and path train only and pedestrian traffic. City's packed, but it always is holiday season. Ajayi got away from one tackle, but will go down. Big loss there. Leonard Williams was the first man in pursuit and made the tackle. Well, we mentioned Matt Moore and talking about how long it's been. Last quarterback to go this long between starts, with each start being for the same team, was Vince Evans. It's 5 years and 11 months. That span, doing it for the same team. That's the key. This goes
You
back
know
to
how long
1960.
ago that was? Vince Evans and I played against each other in the Hula Bowl.
Is that right?
Opposing quarterbacks in the Hula Bowl in 1977.
Really?
Yes.
Evans doing that in replacement games too. In 1987, his initial starts, there was a run by Ajayi, got the missed yards back, big hit on Ajayi by Pryor, and he's down at the 19-yard line. If you go back to 1950, that's really when the quarterback position, as we know it, T-formation quarterbacks became what was common in the NFL. Evans is the only quarterback to go longer than more between two starts for the same team. And the Dolphins are glad that he is there. They go without a huddle here on 3rd and 8, trying to not let the Jets get into their pressure personnel.
False start, number 76, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Brandon Albert moved early.
Just make it a little more difficult. Things have been too easy for his quarterback. Let's back him up to 3rd and 13 instead of 3rd and 8. Conservative call, coach. You're up big. You're up big right now.
I certainly would. I would not take a chance here.
Your wide receivers, tight end, 5 in the pattern for Moore, who could sense there was nothing going on, and he took that sack. Just let me get down and get out of Dodge here quick.
They had an upfield route called. He didn't really like the look or whatever downfield. Didn't hesitate to just kind of put it under the wing and get what he could, get back near the line of scrimmage and punt it away.
Smart. You're totally in control of this game right now. Do not self-destruct.
2.5 left in this 3rd quarter. And Matt Darr to kick it away. Marshall waiting back there, telling everyone to get away. And a 43-yard kick taken at the 43 for the Jets to take over. History of this rivalry, this one game sticks out. The only playoff game between these teams. When you say Richard Todd, I say A.J. Dewey. Kept looking for Mike Augustiniak, the back for the Jets. Dewey was there, and then trying to find Bruce Harper on a screen pass. Jets fans who were young then will remember that Don Shula didn't cover the field with a tarp. Chose to let it get muddy. Driving rainstorm, 72
Sounds like
hours.
you were a Jets fan. You remember
Yes,
that.
exactly.
I knew a lot of folks who were, Tony, back in the day. Run up the middle here from Powell across midfield into Jets territory. At that time, that Jets team had speed, and the Dolphins had that terrific defense, and A.J. Dewey had an outstanding game, the 3 picks in the game, and the Dolphins won and went to the Super Bowl against Washington.
He can't let it go. I heard about it earlier when we put that together. It hurt you. It scarred you.
Well, I grew up watching this rivalry as a kid in New York. You got a ton of Dolphin fans here. The Dolphins were so good and so popular, they had a lot of fans across the country, especially here in New York, and so many New Yorkers have migrated to South Florida. So when this rivalry is played, you get fans from the other team in the stadium. Powell the first down to the 46-yard line with 90 seconds left in the 3rd.
Well, Powell's not going to stop working. He's still getting yards, pounding ahead. And I like that the Jets are running the football a little bit here, not putting Bryce Petty in a position to get lit up by this defensive line, but just starting to drop back and sling it around.
It's a little bit of how the Jets got back into the game against San Francisco. Remember, they were down 14-0, 17-3, and they stayed patient.
Yeah, and it was Bilal Powell. Yes.
But right now it's a 24-point game with a quarter to go.
On 1st and 10, coming clean off the edges, Neville Hewitt. And he gets his first sack of the season. There have been a lot of free runners at Petty tonight.
This is just a bust and protection. Ajelano on the backside probably should have fanned out off the play action.
I think Powell made a decision. He went the other way to pick up the blitzer off the right. No one picks up the blitzer off the left.
Neville Hewitt, 2nd year out of Marshall. He was undrafted. And The Jet fans that remain are trying to shout down the Dolphin fans who are chanting, "Let's go Dolphins." Inunua across the middle. Then he finds him. Gets the sack yardage back and then some to the 41-yard line, and that will terminate the third quarter. Dominant quarter for Miami. They score all 21. And after 3, 34-10 Dolphins on this Thursday night special. So the Dolphins are closing in on 9-5. And how does that impact the AFC playoff picture? Well, somebody's going to win the division out of Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Somebody's going to win the division out of Tennessee and Houston, or perhaps Indianapolis. So then the non-winner would fall to the wild card race with Miami in all likelihood. And Denver's got 3 very tough games, as we know, including tomorrow in New England. So it is very possible in 24 hours as Petty gets crushed again, hit by 2, as he put it up is complete to Robbie Anderson, who's inside the 15-yard line, but Petty's hurt. Ndamukong Suh came clean along with Andre Branch, and Petty took a shot.
It looks like the ball is snapped early, so none of the offensive linemen are moving, and Miami comes across the line clean and get a clean shot on the quarterback from both sides.
Cameron Wake's the other one. As Suh lifts him off the ground, he's totally exposed and takes a brutal hit from Wake.
And you don't expect that for Wake and Suh to not be blocked, not be touched at all. Still got it off, made a great back shoulder throw, but that is tough.
Why did it have to be those two? Out of all the guys you could pick, my goodness.
Bryce Petty on all 4s here as the Jets medical staff looks at him, and we'll step out for a minute. Bryce Petty walked over with the assistants of the athletic training staff, the doctors, all but taking a look. He just took a ridiculously brutal hit as he was lifted off the ground by the first Suh hit. 2 guys coming in clean. I mean, the Jets' protection's been abysmal tonight. So Ryan Fitzpatrick back in there for the Jets. Bilal Powell will not go anywhere. Ndamukong Suh's been extraordinarily good tonight with the tackle. Back to this hit, and the pass was completed, by the way, to Anderson.
Well, you can tell right away that the center snaps the ball early, so he's not ready for it. The offensive linemen are not moving. They're all still in their stance, letting the defensive rush come, and it's Wake and Suh meeting at the quarterback. Just no movement at all by Tomlinson. And the ball's completed down the field for a long game. Great throw.
From the 14, Fitzpatrick will throw it inside. It's completed. And Inunua will only gain a yard or 2. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, 12th-year man out of Harvard, who started the first 6, then 4 of the next 6. And after this offense struggled mightily against Indianapolis on a Monday night here, the last time the Jets were here 2 weeks ago, and he was benched for Petty. They said Petty would go the last 4. Fitzpatrick back in. This is part of the reason that Christian Hackenberg has not been the backup quarterback, because coming in this situation, a quarterback who's never played before, they'd rather have some experience. Todd Bowles telling us Fitzpatrick has been very professional about the entire situation. 3rd and 10. Here he is rolling, and he'll get to the sideline, pushed down by Spencer Paysinger. Short of the first down, it'll be 4th and a couple.
Need to go for it here.
I like the way Fitzpatrick plays. I mean, he just lays it on the line. He's going to run with the football, put his head down, lateral the ball down the field, sling it in there if he can. And last year, 31 touchdown passes doing it that way. This year, it didn't happen. A lot more interceptions. And, you know, when you play that way, you're taking some risks.
We mentioned the start of the offseason. They didn't come to the contract agreement early. Never got on the same page. It is 4th and 2. And Fitzpatrick fires incomplete. Paysinger knocks it down. And Miami will take over on downs. Paysinger's had a good night. Special teams and his nickel situation linebacking duties. This Thursday night special is brought to you by Verizon. Join a better network because better matters. And by KFC, the new $10 chicken share is a bucket for 2. KFC, it's finger licking good. Miami takes over at its own 5-yard line, leading by 24. 2-yard gain for Jay Ajayi, who has 17 carries for only 41 yards on the night. As you can see, Bryce Petty without the medical team around him after that hit, and actually during the timeout, Saw him conversing and with a smile on his face. It's hard to believe after that hit.
It's just, as a quarterback, let's go one play where you're throwing the ball down the field. You know what? Nobody block. Just snap the ball and let them come.
Ajayi. Hard hit at the 10 by Bruce Carter. Standing up, Ajayi has been hit hard often tonight. Here's Heather on the Jets sideline.
Yeah, Mike Bruce Petty had the medical team looking at his lower back, both the left and the right sides, after this incredible hit that he took on the last possession. Team doctors then reviewed the play on the monitor to check the impact. Petty continues to rub his lower back, and the official word from the Jets staff is that he had the wind knocked out of him and he is questionable to return.
Wow, that's all he had.
Very fortunate.
Very fortunate.
He had a gale force wind knocked out of him. My goodness, that was incredible. That he's up trying to throw, see if he can come back in the game. Ajayi to the left. The flag is down as he's across the 25 to the 27. This one could be coming back. Would have been Ajayi's first double-digit run of the night. It was a 15-yard gain. His long has been 8.
Illegal shift offense. The linemen were going down while man in motion. 5-yard penalty remains.
It'll come back instead.
That's a motion back. Guy going in motion, starting a little early, and if you see that happen, you can always get set.
Adam Gase is going to be happy about this win, but when they go back, they're going to look at these false starts, procedure penalties. These are things they're going to have to clean up going forward.
If I'm running across the formation and going in motion, I see somebody move, I stop, reset, and then continue my motion.
Too many penalties last week. Yeah. Tony, 8 for 55 here tonight. Ajayi, who gets to the 14-yard line, yard shy of the first down. The emergence of Jay Ajayi, part of that Miami story this year. You remember Miami Dolphins backfield was in some flux when Lamar Miller signed with Houston. But Ajayi, in his second year, born in London, a soccer player initially, really emerged for them as the early part of the season went on.
He did not make the trip to the first game of the season to Seattle, and he's exploded since then.
Not often you go from
being left home to the starter
to 200 yards back-to-back a month later, right? The kick away from Matt Darr to the sideline. Force Nick Marshall to just catch it and go out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Petty felt some discomfort there throwing, so smartly they're taking him back to get examined in the locker room. So your Christmas planning, Christmas Eve here on NFL Network will be Cincinnati and Houston, and then Doug, Heather, and I will be in Pittsburgh on Christmas Day for the Ravens and Steelers. You'll see that on NFL Network, and then the Chiefs and the Broncos on NBC on Christmas night. Carry there for about a yard with Matt Forte in the lineup. Most of the NFL schedule will be played on Christmas Eve. There are a couple of games around during the Christmas Eve night game. We told you the 2 games on Christmas Day, and then there's a Monday nighter with Detroit and Dallas in Dallas on the 26th, which could be important. By the way, speaking of Dallas, today Highland Park High School won the state championship in Texas. The game was played in AT&T Stadium, and their quarterback, John Stephen Jones. Stephen Jones' son, the COO of the Cowboys, and the grandson, obviously, of owner-president, general manager Jerry Jones. Forte with the catch to the 46-yard line, so congratulations to the Jones family. They were in the stands watching. Stephen was on the sideline watching his son, and his son, John Stephen, the quarterback for Highland Park, ran for 2 touchdowns, was the offensive MVP of the game, and Jerry and Stephen got to present their son and grandson, respectively, with the offensive MVP trophy of the state championship game in Texas. Big stuff, so congratulations to both men. One of the all-time Football Was Family moments of this season. Run up the middle for Forte inside the 40. He'll go to the 38. And for what it's worth, last time Highland Park was the state champion, the quarterback was
Matthew Stafford.
You got it, Tony. Matthew Stafford, who will be in this stadium tomorrow when the Lions play the Giants.
Football powerhouse, Highland Park. Yeah, great program.
Yep.
there, Mike's right.
8 minutes left so the MetLife workers can get busy, turning green to blue. Jets colors to Giants. Inunua juggles. Did he hang on? Yes, he did. Quincy Inunua with the reception to the 29-yard line.
You had Bakari Rambo hanging all over him. He stayed with it, pulled one in. Fitzpatrick liked to just put a little drive together. Simple, be careful with the ball a little bit. Put it behind him, great hands, pulled it in, and now stay with it while he's coming down. Potential to get another hit. Good focus on. He's more like a tight end body. You know?
It's been good for them.
Second leading receiver is closing in on Brandon Marshall. 5 receptions behind Marshall. Forte to the 23-yard line. Here's Heather.
Well, Mike, you were talking about that quick transformation from MetLife. A Giants game at 1 o'clock tomorrow. So at the end of the game, 73 stadium operation team members start the overnight changeover from Jets to Giants. Now, this usually starts on Tuesdays, but tonight they'll do it in less than 10 hours. There's over 1,200 elements that are manually switched out. Things like wall wrap, the concourses, artwork, locker rooms, Ring of Honor, just to name a few. That's why the end zones aren't painted. And gosh, they've got a long night ahead of them, Mike.
And they will get the job done. They had to clear the snow out of the parking lots. Fitzpatrick, end zone shot against the pressure for Marshall. And again, Xavier Howard step for step with Brandon in coverage and incomplete. And it's always the NFL logo midfield here. The only other stadium that has the NFL logo at midfield is in Charlotte, Bank of America Stadium with the Panthers. Jerry Richardson, the owner of the Panthers, I remember in the past him saying that nothing was bigger than the league. So the NFL logo is midfield there, but it's always here for the shared Jets and Giants. Jets used to walk into the other building. Now the part of the parking lot, it's at Giant Stadium. They play their home games for a long time after their earlier days at Shea Stadium. Forte with the carry, Neville Hewitt the tackle, 6:25 to go. Tony, you had to play in Shea Stadium, right?
Did play the last game there, as a matter of fact. I was with the Steelers, and I remember the policeman telling us with about 3 minutes to go, hey, we can't hold them off very long. I'd get to the locker room if I were you.
Quite a place. They used to have the stands that would roll out from the home plate when the Mets played there down to the sidelines. And when the Jets were going, the New York Sack Exchange days, those lower stands would bounce up and down as the fans would bounce up and down. Some good days in Jets history. Fitzpatrick getting rid of it, incomplete. As he was being pressured, Bobby McCain.
Bobby McCain coming through clean and chasing. Fitzpatrick tries to drift away as he's coming from this angle here.
Well-timed blitz, and he did just drift away and beat that.
You know, that's a veteran guy. You know where the unblocked guy's coming. You're trying to hang in there for somebody to uncover to get rid of the ball, too. It's not happening, so you start drifting a little more, by another second, and he finally throws it away. And it's not like him to want to throw it away. He wants to put one up for grabs and go get a touchdown.
So I'm guessing if you're going to make the comeback, you need 3 touchdowns and a field goal, right?
So the onside kick start here? Is that? Yeah.
Doing the math, the game was over a while ago. 34-13. Rich Eisen and the guys talking about Eli and how he is the current NFL Iron Man. What makes him last and last and last. It's game day morning to start your NFL Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow on NFL Network. Look at Rockefeller Center, the tree, skating rink. Dolphins preparing for a potential onside kick from Nick Folk. We'll just kick it away here at 34-13. Jakeem Grant. Get out of bounds, 12-yard line, 5:39 to go.
Now, I really don't understand that call. Like, if you're going to kick the field goal, how can you not onside kick?
Exactly. Why not go for the touchdown and 3 times as you guys were talking about in the break. So Matt Moore comes in and throws 4 touchdowns for the Dolphins against the Jets here tonight. The last 2 Dolphins quarterbacks have 4 touchdown passes against the Jets. Moore tonight, and Dan Marino in that fake spike game that we showed earlier 22 years ago.
Just shows you a heck of a night Matt Moore has had. I mean, come on, come off the bench. Hadn't started in 5 years.
And they
had a
thought,
child on Monday.
this was coming, though. They really did. They felt good about his ability to play.
In all their meetings with the coaching staff, total confidence in him to run the entire game plan.
Kenyon Drake gets out of bounds. You want to stay inbounds, but outside of 5 minutes, more than 5 left. The different clock rules apply, so it still rolls.
And as we said earlier, early in the week on Monday, he was a daddy.
Yep. Son Wyatt, 3rd child, born to Matt and wife Tara. Everybody at home.
It's been a good week.
Great week.
Tara's parents helping the Moores out. This guy was a pretty good shortstop. He thought that was going to be his #1 sport when he was growing up in California. Instead down this football path, and it's been a terrific one. Drake with the carry. It's just amazing how the league works sometimes as Drake is stopped for a minimal game. When Matt Moore was undrafted, he ended up with the Dallas Cowboys, and their coach at the time, Tony Sperano, was on that staff. Jeff Ireland was in the front office, and they were going to cut him and hope to get him back on the practice squad at those final cuts before the regular season started. Well, Carolina jumped on him, and the way injuries happened, he was starting 4 games in as a rookie for Carolina. Fast forward years later, Sperano and Ireland in the front office are with the Dolphins. They knew Matt, liked him then, got him back here, started some, and has been around for 5 years as the backup to Tannehill. Kenyon Drake. Jarvis Landry gives him a block to get the first down, going to stay in bounds and go down at the 31-yard line with 4 minutes left. Gain of 16 for Drake, the rookie out of Alabama.
Well, Landry doesn't just catch touchdowns. He's working for his buddy downfield, getting the block. Nice shoulder on Miles. Stay with it. Go get somebody else. Go find another. Good opportunity for Drake to carry the ball a little bit. Had a couple big kick returns this year.
Drake again. Penetration by the Jets and Bruce Carter with the tackle, Tony. But what do you see here for Miami now? They'll get to 9-5. See what happens with the other teams around them. They go to Buffalo next Saturday. They'll have a full week before that, and then New England at the end of the season, week 17.
I think a couple things they've got to be happy about: the play of Matt Moore, but also their defense getting some takeaways. That's what you need. Coming down the stretch in December, you want your defense to do that. They didn't play as well defending the run as they would like, but in every other phase they were solid. Of course, those special teams making plays too, so they've got to be happy with tonight.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned the defense. That defensive line started from the very beginning of this game. Vance Joseph, their defensive coordinator, told us as Drake stays in bounds, no gain. He said, as our D-line goes, this team goes. They've got to set a tone. They did early on, albeit the Jets' offensive line is patchwork and struggling. And this is a good young coach, Tony, at 43 years old, Vance Joseph, who came over from Cincinnati.
No, he really is. I was actually down in Miami this offseason in their offseason workouts, and the players were excited, the defenders, about what they were doing and the schemes they had. And Rodney Harrison mentioned it in the pregame. Hey, our quarterback's down. He talked about going to those defensive leaders and saying, you've got to step up. And Sue and Wake and those guys definitely did.
Touchdown on the first drive, couple of field goals since. The Dolphins are 2 minutes away from a winning season. Our Thursday night special powered by Ram Trucks, America's longest lasting pickups. And by Papa John's new pan pizza, up to 3 toppings, just $10. And coming up right after the game, we'll have the Mazda postgame. Heather will interview the star of the game, Matt Moore. Jarvis Landry's going to hop on the set to join Chris Rose, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Willie McGinnis, all coming up Mazda postgame as soon as we are done. You all get to sleep quick, turn right back around. All the pregame shows on Sunday, and then a pretty good slate of action, capped off by the Sunday nighter with Tampa and the Cowboys. Damian Williams with the carry. He stopped, minute 49 left. And the Dolphins will punt it away. It's a pretty good night for Matt Moore. And now week to catch your breath. And probably got one of the better nights of sleep that he's had this week here in the hotel.
Yeah, he got to stay in the hotel.
Right. Third kid.
You can't admit that, but definitely.
Job well done, especially with the support of the defense. And the performance of Cameron Wake and Ndamukong Suh, outstanding up front. Tony, like you said, set the tone right from the beginning.
Yeah, they really did, and they came out and hustled and played well. And Ndamukong Suh, Doug, was just dominant on that line of scrimmage.
All night long. You can't block them. You can't block them with two people. And then when you turn people free, they get there in a hurry. Wake gets himself an interception on the drop on a blitz zone. He also had the free rush and then the meeting at the quarterback with the two of them. I mean, these guys are dominant. Wake is a pass rusher. The thing I love about Wake, he had to work his way to here. I mean, the things he went through, he was a broker for a while. He went to the CFL. He had to earn his opportunity. And you know, CFL guys are, I'm on their side all the time.
What do you know about CFL
I know
guys?
nothing. I know nothing.
Six-time
British
outstanding
Columbia
player in the league. So Ndamukong Suh gave you the 503. That's the area code in Portland, his home area. Nick Marshall on the return for the Jets. Nobody looked really interested being involved in that play.
Somebody make a tackle.
Vigil the tackle across midfield. Flexed into a good one for Sunday night. Buccaneers, Cowboys. Jameis Winston, Dak Prescott. Bob Costas and the guys. Dan Patrick in the studio with football night. And 7 Eastern. Then Al, Chris, and Michelle will have the game from Arlington. The NFC playoff story. Seattle with the win already. Dallas up there at 11-2. Detroit playing the Giants. Tampa right in the wild card mix. Washington will play Carolina on Monday night. And how about Adrian Peterson, activated for the Vikings?
See if he gives them a lift.
Minnesota hosting an Indianapolis team that is struggling in the Twin Cities tomorrow. Pass count Brandon Marshall as Issa Abdul-Quddus will pick up a second flag of the night for getting a defenseless player.
Personal foul. Hit on a defenseless receiver. Defense, 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's one you don't expect to get around this time of the ball game with the situation it is, but he's got his head down going after it. Marshall was trying to pull off. Takes a shot on the shoulder there and says, really?
Just one thing for Dolphins fans to watch next week as they get prepared for the Jets on that punt return at the end there when most guys didn't look like they wanted to be a part of that. Bobby McCain, their starting nickel, came limping over to the sideline. Just keep an eye on that through the news coverage in Miami this week. A flag is down as Powell takes it to the 20-yard line. The first down, pending the call. Gain of 14.
Defense, offside, lined up in the neutral zone. Penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
And the Jets on the ball with 47 seconds left. The Jets season will wrap up, as we mentioned at the top, in the division. They go to New England for Christmas Eve. Will close with the Bills here on the first. Fitzpatrick the run for 4.
He's not going to quit. He'll just keep going. He's going to stick one in the end zone for his own measure. You know, he's either going to throw an interception into the end zone or stick it in there for a touchdown.
And if you're Adam Gase, you really don't care if they score here or not. You don't want to lose a player here right now.
Well, the Dolphins are on their way to a 9th win. The first winning season for this franchise since 2008. Around the league tomorrow, big games. Talking about teams that haven't met this good for a while. Jets and Lions and Giants, I should say, here at MetLife. First time they meet 5 over 500. Patriots, Broncos. What's your thought on that, Tony, tomorrow afternoon?
I think that's going to be an outstanding game. Denver has got to get some running game going if they want to beat the Patriots.
And the Buccaneers and Cowboys with the Sunday nighter. And Tony's got a terrific sit-down with Jameis Winston on Football Night in America. Dolphins bring blitz. Fitzpatrick throws to Marshall, incomplete with 34 seconds left.
Talk about Dallas, Tampa. Is Dak going to feel a little pressure now? He's had an unbelievable year. He's playing great. He has one little slip up. And now all of a sudden, you're getting down the wire, and
that's what it's like.
Is it
going to be back of the Dallas Cowboys?
Is it going to be back-to-back poor performances, and people start talking? So it'll be interesting. See how he handles that little situation.
Let's say this: 3 good defenses in a row. Minnesota, who we saw on a Thursday night. Giants defense in this building outstanding on Sunday. And this Tampa defense,
they're playing very well. Very well.
Fitzpatrick will throw complete to Robbie Anderson. No gain, 27 seconds left. You said it on Football Night last week, Tony. The play of Gerald McCoy has stepped up. Levante David at the linebacking core. That's flipped the switch in this Tampa defense.
It really has. They're playing well, and they've got the right formula to give Dallas some problems.
Dolphins on their way to sweeping the Jets for the first time since 2009. 4th and 6, and Fitzpatrick intercepted by Tony Lippett.
He can't help himself. He's got to go for it.
Hey, stats look good at the end of the year, and that's 2 picks, and that's 4 for the season. And they mercifully run that last second off the clock, and this game is over. The Miami Dolphins, a winning season to 9-5, and most importantly for them, they put the pressure on Denver and everybody else in the AFC playoff chase as the Dolphins try to find their way into the postseason for just the 2nd time in the last 14 years. Our final score, Miami 34 and the Jets 13. With Tony Dungy, Doug Flutie, Heather Cox, Mike Tirico, the Mazda postgame show, Chris Rose and company, plus Heather with the star of the game. Coming up next, you've been watching this Thursday night special.